Hi, I'm Josh Maszle. I'm the head of the audio department for Wicked on Broadway. We're here at the beautiful Gershwin stage, and I love to show you around, show you what makes Wicked sound like Wicked. Starting on stage, let's take a look at our PA system. So we've got a full Meyer system with a line array that's sort of tucked behind the Dragon. Tony Miola is our sound designer, very accomplished, very experienced, and he loves to hide the speakers. So when you're out in the house, you don't really see a lot of speakers. Maybe you can see like the bottom three of these. Everything else is hidden behind vines, hidden behind cogs, hidden in the deck. So that when you're out there, you're not looking at speakers, you're looking at this beautiful set. On the stage, we've got speakers in the deck for on-stage foldback, for orchestral foldback. So foldback is so that the actors can hear the orchestra on stage. We don't put vocals on stage. We never put vocals on stage. You know, they're wearing omnidirectional microphones up here. This is a big, beautiful, cavernous space. They can hear themselves coming back naturally from the theater. And some shows may sneak some vocals on stage. We don't, you know, and it sort of forces them to listen to each other a little bit more, as opposed to concerning themselves with how much of themselves they hear on stage. And we don't really blast that orchestra on stage either. We give them what they need to make sure that they feel like they're singing to something, that they're not just singing bare on stage. But we don't want to overwhelm them. We want them to be able to hear themselves coming back from the house a little bit. So we've got the foldbacks in each of the wings. So no matter where they go, upstage, downstage, center stage, you know, it's a pretty wide stage. So if they come all the way to center, they still have these speakers in the deck so that they can hear themselves.
And that's this right here.
Yeah. And then as we come down stage, we've got speakers, point source speakers, Meyer Ultra X 40s in the deck there, in the deck over there. Tony's really big about making the show sound like what it is, not just a recording of a show. You know, we want to be able to hear the actors on stage, sourced on stage, timed perfectly on stage. We want to hear the orchestra coming from the orchestra, not just from the sides. One of the best compliments that someone gave me one time, he didn't intend it as a compliment. He was sitting upstairs and he came down and he said, you know, I can hear everything perfectly. It's, you know, every word, everything in the orchestra, but it sounds like it's coming from the stage. And I said, excellent. You know, that's what we're looking for. It's theater. It's not a film, you know. So if it sounds like it's coming live from the stage, then we've done our job. Do you want to come downstairs and see some microphones? Coming down here. So for Wicked, we use Countryman B6 microphones, and we rig them a couple different ways. So for people not wearing wigs, so this is Jeff's microphone. He's going to wear this on a clip around his ear, bent around like so, and just sort of tucked into his sideburn.
Cool.
So if you're wearing a wig prep, you've got your wig cap on. This goes through here, and a straight pin goes that way, and it just gets tucked right up there. For some of our principals, like Glinda, she's got a main here, she's got a backup over here, and she's wearing two packs. And they go into the same channel on the console, so if the main microphone breaks, I reach up and I switch over to the B input on the console. I radio back to Jack and Jordan, I say, help me out. You know, we've got a broken mic, and first chance they get, they'll give her a whole new set so that we're like starting back.
How many mics do you run in a show?
So we've got 38 packs going during a show. 2 of them are spare, so 36 are on stage.
And you're also competing with a ton of frequencies just here in the entire Broadway district. Do you have to coordinate that?
Yeah, so our shop, PRG, they do the coordination of that. Luckily, we're kind of tucked away a little bit. The only thing that we have next to us is downstairs, Strickland Square. Other than that, the next Broadway theater is a couple blocks away. There's a big church down the street, and sometimes they have some big events, but it's pretty rare that we get any sort of interference. This is Alphabet's mics, which are painted green naturally. In Act 1, our wizard is wearing a double ear rig. And then for Act 2, we switch to Mike's wired to the glasses. So he's got this top hat that he keeps taking on and off during his song. If he's wearing an ear rig over there, that top hat's the sound's gonna change every single time. It's gonna sound completely covered and then opened up. This way it keeps it out in the open and super consistent, and you can't even really tell that he's mic'd or that he's taking it on and off.
So where is the mic in that? So it's coming at the back.
So it comes through here.
Oh, so it's like just attached to the glasses there. Wow.
The jack attaches to the glasses there, and then it's wired down the back.
Is that a backup?
That's a backup.
Oh, so you do have both on both sides.
Yeah, you can't have the wizard having a broken mic.
And how many people do you have on the backstage, A2s, full crew?
So we've got one mixer out front, and then we've got 2 people backstage. You know what, while we're down here, let's take a look at the pit. So we've got a couple of remoted keyboards here that moved out during when we came back from COVID. When we returned in 2021, we had to just make a little bit more space in the pit from what you'll see, and shifted some things around. And so 2 keyboards here. You can see they've got their conductor monitor, front of house shot. So we've got 23 musicians in here, plus the conductor. So that includes, I'm gonna do the full run through. We've got 3 keyboards, 2 guitars, a bass, a harp, 2 trumpets, a trombone, a bass trombone, 2 French horns, 2 violins, a viola, a cello, 4 woodwinds that play combined 17 different instruments. Then we've got a drummer off stage, and we've got a separate percussionist off stage. Each guitar plays electric, acoustic, nylon, banjo, mandolin. Bass has electric bass, fretless bass, and upright bass. So everyone's got their specific chairs, and Tony mic'd this orchestra like an orchestra, not like a band, you know. So you'll see that things aren't close mic, things aren't going to be clipped onto violins or clipped onto the bells of horns. Everything is going to be, it's going to get just a little bit of distance, a little bit of air. This microphone's going to pick this up, it's going to pick up just a little bit of the instrument next to it, so you're feeling like it's a full orchestra. Same thing as we come over here, you know, this is like the cello mic. We're not going to clip it onto the bottom. We're going to have it here. You know, and we keep everything super clean. We keep wires off of the bottom. We try not to have mic stands coming around, because mic stands get moved, you know. This, not getting moved. It's got a little shock mount that we put on it, but clean, consistent, so that everyone knows exactly where their spot is. And if something sounds wrong, something sounds a little bit off, maybe like a mic got knocked, we come and we talk to the musician. We make sure that when they're getting settled in, that it stays in the spot that it's supposed to be.
How many inputs do you have coming from here?
From here, probably. See, if that side of the console has about 50 channels, you know, probably 60, 65 inputs coming from the orchestra.
Wow.
Each musician has their own Aviom personal monitoring system. Each signal of each microphone gets split down here. Part of it half of it goes out to me at front of house, the other half goes to a Yamaha DM2000, which then mixes down so that, you know, Tuck here at Woodwind 2, he can decide exactly what his headphone mix is going to be. He's going to put on headphones, he's going to say, I want a lot of key 1, not so much key 2, not so much key 3, a lot of woodwinds, not so much brass. And he can create his own mix, save it. His sub can come in, make their own mix, save it. You can save up to 16 mixes on it. And
every single person can do that?
Yeah, every single person has an individual mixer, completely independent of each other. So whatever you're doing isn't going to affect what other people are doing.
Oh, wow. I feel like every drummer on Broadway would be very jealous of this.
This is a really nice space. This, before we shut down, this was actually the harp room, and the drummer was down where that harp was, crammed into that little space. And it wasn't a very ergodynamic space for him. Having him up here, it's a little nicer. We have a little more control over the sounds, and he just has more space to be able to do what he needs to do.
Does anybody trigger Ableton or sound effects from the pit, or?
No sound effects triggered from the pit. No loops triggered from the pit.
Do you do that?
They're all just playing. I trigger one drum loop during the show. Just it's just a beat during the monkey release, whenever the monkeys are flying. And most of that was, they really want it to be very consistent time, a very set thing, because it's so choreographed and there's so much, I mean, there's a lot of dangerous things going on with people flying around. So it's, the timing of that is like so specific.
What about the slaps?
Slaps are me out in front.
Oh, so you are hitting the sound effects from your perspective. Wow, okay.
These are all of our inputs for the wireless microphone. So here's our receivers, here's a patch bay, and this is a listening station, so that when Jack is here, he can pop through, he can listen to every single microphone right before they go on stage, make sure that everything is functioning. Yeah, so you pop on the headphones and you just listen through. Listen through one at a time. You can listen to a group if you want. And so they want to make sure that every time someone walks out on stage, their microphone is functioning, they're ready to go. So less surprises for me out front.
Yeah.
So again, Meyer system, some porch source speakers there, array hidden behind the vines, subs down there, our line array over there, which is 9 cabinets per. A little bit of mix and repeat, then we've got front fill speakers, and we've got little surround speakers hidden around, rear surrounds up there. So it's a true theatrical experience. As you're there, when you hear Nessa moaning, she's coming from back there. When you hear the wizard giving his I am Oz, it's all around you. You're in the wizard's chamber. Underneath, these are called under balcony delays, and called delays because they're literally time delayed to the main system. So sound comes out of the main speaker, it comes to here, and then when it comes to here, now it comes out of those speakers, right?
Because of the speed of sound.
Just because of the speed of sound. I always say that we're in a time machine back there, because we're hearing the show about 80 milliseconds after it happens, right? So if you're watching through binoculars, it almost doesn't line up, but we have to time delay it so that everything hits every seat at the same time. So everyone's hearing the show together. You're not hearing it a delay if you're sitting in these seats here. So this is a Cadac J-Type console, and this used to be the Broadway console. And now it's pretty much the last analog console on a Broadway show. We're holding on to this as long as we can, mostly because we like the sound of it. So starting from here, this is just some utility things, foot mics, some God mics and talkback mics. And then we get into our orchestra, everything grouped together, percussion, drums, and then by section, keyboards, brass, woodwinds, guitars, harp, and strings, basses here.
So I see you have their names, but then you have their instrument up here.
We have their instrument, and we have what microphone they're on. From here down to here, this is all orchestra. Samplers for playback sound effects, we use Contact. The show originally was on mini disc, I believe, and then it moved to Akai Z8 samplers. And then this was the cleanest way to move from the Z8s, because it's a sampler-based playback program, Contact. And we've got several sound effects that have to play on top of each other. Let's say when the Oz head is opening and closing the mouth, there are MIDI triggers on the Oz head. So every time that mouth opens, triggers. So with a sampler, it's much easier to just be able to play that sound on top of itself without having to wait for the entire file to end before having to play the sound again. It can be much more organic.
Now, do you have a physical keyboard or something? What are you actually pushing to?
To trigger?
Yeah.
So we've got MIDI triggers coming from the console embedded within cues. So within that cue, when I take Q9, it's going to do several things. It's going to set faders where it's supposed to be. It's also going to do trigger. It's going to send a MIDI message to Contact to play that specific sound effect. So as I'm going through the show, as I'm taking cues, I'm either changing my VCAs, which we'll get to in a second, or I'm readjusting the internal mixes within the ensemble or the orchestra, or I'm changing a reverb, or I'm triggering a sound effect. And those reverb changes and the sound effects are all done by just a simple MIDI output program change, telling this to do something. Then we have our principals. We switch these out as the cast changes. Then we've got our reverbs. We've got a Lexicon 960L. We've got 2 PCM81s. They send via aux send, then they just come back into the console, you know. Then we've got our ensemble, starting from Gabriella all the way down to Ishel. That's just for the stage manager up at the call desk. If they need to make an announcement during the show, that is up and ready to go for them, and that's for our system check. Yeah, it still says CD, you know, just for kicks.
I've seen a lot of digital consoles recently. I think this is the first analog. So what is going to be a big difference between kind of this and what I think a lot of people are now seeing, which is maybe about this big with a lot of layers?
Yeah. So, you know, you're used to this with layers. We've got, the Cadac specifically is a modular console where you can set it up as you need to per show. You know, each one of these comes out, you can change it with whatever module you decide you want to be. We've got programmable modules and non-programmable modules. By analog, it means that it's voltage that comes in and then it gets manipulated by capacitors and resistors and whatnot. It stays voltage the entire time it's in here and it sends back out as voltage. It never turns into digital information. And that's the biggest difference. We're still recalling scenes, recalling fader positions, recalling VCAs, who I'm controlling. With that means that there's much less onboard processing as far as, you know, I'm not gonna be able to adjust an EQ unless I put my finger on that knob and adjust the EQ. I'm not gonna be able to recall specific EQs. I don't have gating on input channels. I don't have compression. We don't have any input compression on anything here. And we don't even use outboard input compression. We use insert compression. We've got these Valvetronics tube compressors that we put on groups. But we don't compress things as they're coming in. We try not to squash everything down. We try to let it be live and like really, really breathe for what it is. So this is the beginning of Dancing Through Life, right? So we have our ensemble mixed based on, you know, let's go when the ensemble actually sings. So here's where the ensemble actually comes in. We've got, you know, pretty much everyone just about even across the board. We got a few people pushed up a little bit because a little bit later on they sing off stage and we want to be able to boost them. So as we're going through the show, as we're going through this song, Fiero's singing, right? We've got control of the orchestra, separate control of the drums, just because it's a big dance-heavy number. We've got reverb on the orchestra that is sent pre-fade. We've got vocal reverb. So Fiero's singing. We got a little bit of reverb on here. He's singing here. We do a little bit of build. Then the ensemble comes in, and it's literally the second that they're starting to open their mouth is when their mics come on. So then they sing, they're done. He sings a little bit, back and forth. Everything is just line by line by line, just one at a time. If the second that your mouth closes, it's out. And let's go to another cue, going here. Completely different scene. This is the top of the show where I've got Glinda. I've got someone who's in the ensemble who has a solo, and then the rest of the ensemble. You go to the next cue, and now it's different people's solos. So now I've got different control over different people.
How do you change your cues?
I've got a next button there.
Oh, wow, okay.
Got a next and a previous. And as I'm hitting that next and previous, it's going down through this cue list.
Oh, I see, okay.
If you want to see what's down below, because this is where anything outboard is. So a little bit of group EQ. Those are those tube compressors. A little bit of gentle gating and compression, playback computers, interfaces for playback. So you asked about the slaps. It's right here. Slap, slap.
Oh. So the most epic sound in this entire thing is just the wizard. Is he in the back? Because I saw that there was a dedicated mic.
Yeah.
Is that like some sort of dynamic microphone just to have a lot of gravel? That's just my guess.
No, that is just a prop.
Oh, that's not even real.
No.
It's just his mic, his glasses mic.
So when he comes out in Act 2 and he says, "I knew you'd be back," right? That's just a prop. We've got him going live to a pitch shift and to a really big reverb, and then sending those things to the surround speakers and subwoofers.
Where is all of that happening?
So here's the wizard, right? So when we get to that scene, he sends to aux 7, that turns on, his aux out, sends over to these two units, these two PCM 81s, one for the pitch shift, one for the reverb, and it comes back out, and then it returns back to the effects inputs, and then gets routed out to directly to the surround speakers. Jordan and I, we've been, here for a very long time, so we don't have to use our scripts anymore, and it's better that way because then you can see what's going on stage. You can see as, it's not the scene, but let's say that these two people are singing a solo together, like in As Long As You're Mine. Fiyero and Alpha are here, and they're going back and forth. So we're watching, and we're going to favor one mic, and then as they back up, then we're going to bring in the other mic, and then they come closer, we're going to go back to one. So we can visually see that. But when you're learning a show, this is what we're following here. And we take the script. These are the VCA numbers which correspond to these. These are cues. We've got orchestra levels, reverb levels. We've got pushes, swells, in different shapes. Sometimes it's a nice even swell. Sometimes it's a big bump. Sometimes it's a big drop down. And so when we're first learning a show, we're just painting by numbers and writing little notes for ourselves, like a look up. A lot of people now use digital scripts and iPads and stuff. To this day, I will still use a physical script because I want to be able to see my handwriting. I want to be able to write down what I need to remember. And there's just something about just putting your hands on physical things, I've been the head here for 12 years. And before that, I mixed the show for about 9 months in a sit-down company in San Francisco in 2010. So that's where I learned the show. And then a few years passed, I did some other shows, and then I came here and jumped right in. Probably pretty close to 3,000 performances, yeah.
What did it feel like the first time you mixed it, and what did it feel like the last time you mixed it?
The first time was shaking hands and sweaty palms, because you have so much control, you have so much in your hands. Things can go really bad, and so you have to be able to concentrate without thinking about what you're doing. Like, you can't think that, if I push this to here, that's going to be bad. You just have to be in it and be connected with the performer, and sort of almost like being in their head, sort of determining, she's cleared her throat a little bit. The next time that she has 2 seconds without speaking, I'm going to drop her mic so she can clear her throat. Okay, now we're going back. Okay, sort of understanding how you're feeling and how they're feeling that day. Maybe she needs a little more orchestra just for a second. Sounds like they're falling behind just a second. Okay, now it's established. Now bring it back. So that's where I am now, is being totally in touch with what they're doing on stage. The first time it was just push the right faders, push the right VCAs, push the button at the right time, just get through the show cleanly. You always want to have a clean show. When I first started, one of my first mixes and Alpha goes up, I was like, oh my gosh, we're doing this. When Alpha flies, that's the most anticipated moment on Broadway every night, right? Everyone's waiting. When's she going to fly? How's it going to happen? Because the music builds up and then comes down, builds up and then comes down. So everyone's waiting for it to happen. So it's let's make this work. Let's make it worth their while. I was sitting outside watching the audience come in one night, and it made me think, people went through a lot to get here tonight. So let's make sure that we have a good show for them.